Hi friends, it's Lisa Mears here. Thanks for joining me. In this video today, I'll be sharing with you the Stamps of Life Club products for February 2025, as well as my design process for the cards that I made with these products. So starting out, I want to share with you the Stamp and Die Hard Club set of the month, and this is called Picnic Time. The stamp includes a monkey eating a piece of cake as well as a turtle holding a picnic basket. There's also some other smaller stamps such as a pie and a cake, and lots of sentiments such as happiness is spending time with you, life is better with a friend like you, hi, hello friend, let's do lunch, life's a picnic, and sending a basket full of thanks. Stamp Club members receive the stamp set, and Die Hard Club members receive the stamp and the coordinating dies. And there's a special bonus with the die set. You also get this die that is shaped like a picnic blanket. Let's go ahead and take a look at the card kit for this month. This card kit is called Wishing You Happiness, and it's filled with lots of goodies to make several cards. So I'm going to go ahead and pull everything out of the box, and I'm going to start by showing you the cardstock colors. But I do want to point out that you do always get a plastic storage envelope. You can store your cardstock in here. And then you also get the coordinating envelopes for A2 size cards, and they are white envelopes. So here are the cardstock colors for this month. There is blueberry, Pacific, poppy, green apple, mint chip, bubblegum, sunshine, twig, and you also get the 4 sheets of the powdered sugar, which is the white cardstock. Next, let's take a look at the paper pad. This paper pad is the Wishing You Happiness collection. You have those turtles again with the picnic basket. On the reverse of all of the pages, you have this crisscross design in all of the different colors of the cardstock that you saw earlier. You also have a page of the critters that you can cut out with your coordinating dies. And if you don't have the dies, you can just use your scissors to cut those out. Those make for really quick and easy cards because you don't have to do any coloring. And then this is the Wishing You Happiness words. We have some polka dots. There's also another page of the critters. You can see there's 2 bunnies and 2 pigs. But with this page, you need the additional die set to die cut those, which is the Picnic Time 2 dies. And if you don't have those, you can purchase those on the Stamps of Life website, or you can do like me and just fussy cut those out with your scissors to use those on your cards. So here's another Wishing You Happiness in the smaller print. You also have some stripes in the colors of the cardstock. So there's lots of fun patterns and designs in this pad, and you always get 2 of each. There are 24 double-sided sheets. You also get this A1 picnic basket folded die set, so you can make a shaped card with this. You can also put this on the front of an A2 size card. I'll be making a couple cards with that today. You also get these puffy stickers. These are all those little cute critters, but they're in stickers. You also get these pie chipboard pieces. You can color those up, or you can use inks to add some ink to those and use those as embellishments on your cards. There's also some sentiment stickers and some buttons that come in brown, blue, and red. There's also a word die, and this is the word die that is the Wishing You Happiness word, and it's the same font as you see here in the paper pad. And last but not least, you also get some white ribbon. So if you're not a member of the card kit or the stamp or Die Hard Club kit and you're interested in finding out more information, I will have a link down in the description box of this YouTube video where you can find out more about these clubs. And if you are interested in joining or even upgrading your membership, I always appreciate when you use my link to sign up or to upgrade, because I do get a small commission at no extra cost to you. In addition, if you use my link or your coupon code Lisa Mears when signing up or upgrading your membership, you also will get $5 bonus club points to spend in the Stamps of Life store. All right, let's go ahead and make some cards with these products, and I want to start out by using this picnic blanket die. So I'm going to use the poppy colored cardstock. This is the red cardstock that you see here. And I'm going to use that to die cut the intricate die that's at the top of my screen. And I'm going to add some double-sided adhesive tape to the back of my cardstock because when that comes out of my die cutting machine, it's going to be very hard to put glue on all of those little lines on that die cut. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and put the double-sided tape so that it already has adhesive on the cardstock once it comes out of the die cutting machine, and then I can go ahead and just stick it on to the background. So I'm going to place that intricate die on the top of the cardstock face down, and then I'm going to place the shape die right around that. You need both of those dies to cut it out. If you don't have that shape die around it, it's not going to cut it out of the cardstock. It will just cut it into the cardstock, and you actually need that die to cut it out. So I'm just going to hold this in place with some mint tape, and then I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine. So now that I've die cut it, I'm going to remove the dies. And I'm going to take the large shaped die and die cut this one out of just white cardstock. That's going to be the background for my blanket. And you can see there, now I have two pieces. I'll go ahead and remove this top die. And I'm just going to take all of those little square pieces out of that die cut shape. And then once those are out, I'll be able to remove the double-sided adhesive backing and add that to the white cardstock. But before doing that, I am going to step this up just a little bit, and I'm going to add some red ink around the edges of the intricate die cut piece just to add some depth and definition to this die cut. So I'm just using an ink that is about the same color as the cardstock that I'm using, and I'm using the Rockin' Red ink from Catherine Pooler. Okay, so now I'm going to remove that adhesive backing, and I'll just line up the red cardstock with the white cardstock and press that down, and it's going to go on so well because it's the same shape and it also has the adhesive already on it. I don't have to worry about trying to put glue on the back of all of those little lines on that die cut. If for some reason you don't get it lined up perfectly and you end up with a little bit of white extending from the edge like I have, I'm just going to take some scissors and I'm just going to trim off that white cardstock. Next, I'm bringing in this piece of green pattern paper. I cut that to 5 1/4 by 4 inches. I'm just going to place the picnic blanket on that piece of pattern paper, and I'm taking a grass die. This is a grass die that I have in my stash. It's from Sunny Studio Stamps. I will have it linked down below if you're interested in this one. And I'm just placing it right above where that picnic blanket is, and I'm going to hold this die down with some mint tape and run it through my die cutting machine. And what I love about this die is that it actually cuts both sides with the grass edge. So I have these two pieces that I can use on my card for a layered look. So I can put the picnic blanket between the two layers, and you can see how you'll have the grass above the blanket and a grass at the bottom of the blanket. But before I put that together, I am going to ink the edges up on this grass piece with my green ink. This is the grass skirt ink from Catherine Pooler, just adding some ink along the edges, the top edge, and I'll also do the left and right edge. I don't need to worry about the bottom because that's going to be covered up. And I'm going to do that for both of these pieces. So now that my grass is done, I am going to bring in this piece of pattern paper. I love it because it has the clouds. This is from the You Lift Me Up collection, which was from a card kit a few months ago. So some of you might have that piece, and I cut that piece of pattern paper to 5¼ by 1 inch, and then I'm also going to ink up just the edges of that with a blue ink, and I'm using the Fiesta blue ink from Catherine Pooler. Next, I cut a piece of white cardstock to 5¼ by 4 inches, and that piece of white cardstock is the base layer, so I'm going to layer my pattern paper on top of this, starting with the cloud layer, and that's going at the very top long edge of that piece of white cardstock. And then I'm going to add the large grass piece, just so that I don't see any of the white cardstock underneath. I want to make sure I see all of those clouds though. I'm going to place my picnic blanket on my card. I'm not going to glue it down yet. I'm just placing it there so I can see where I want to add the smaller piece of grass. I am going to add some foam to the back side of the smaller piece of grass so that it's popped up in front of the picnic blanket. And the card will also look like it has some dimension. So I'm just going to add some foam to the back, and then I'll go ahead and add the picnic blanket. And after I add the picnic blanket, I'll go ahead and add my small piece of grass, lining up the bottom edge with the bottom edge of that white cardstock layer. Now we just have to pick which critters we're going to use on our little scene, and I'm using the brown bunny and the pig. They're both facing each other, and I'm also going to add the blue teapot and a plate of cookies. So I'm just going to glue all of them down. I will be bringing in a sentiment that says "You make me smile." This is the sentiment sticker, and I chose the red one because it matches the red or the poppy cardstock. I added that layer to a piece of poppy cardstock that is cut to 5½ inches by 4¼ inches. And I wanted to add some flowers to this scene. Now you can use flower dies and die cut some flowers or color up some flower stamps, but I found these puffy stickers. These were from a Stamps of Life card kit from a long time ago. I don't know which one, but I had them in my stash, so I just thought it was perfect to use on this card. I'm going to add this card layer to an A2 size card base. And that's going to complete my first card. I think this is super cute, and I really love how this turned out. For my next card, I'm using that picnic blanket die again, only this time I die cut the intricate part with white cardstock, and I'm layering it on the poppy cardstock. I die cut this pattern paper with a stitched rectangle die, and I'm going to put that picnic blanket die cut shape at a diagonal on this piece of pattern paper. So I'm just putting some glue where I want the picnic blanket to go, and then I'm going to press it on to that pattern paper. I'm going to take my same stitched rectangle die that I used to die cut the pattern paper initially, and I'm just going to place it over both of those pieces of cardstock, tape them down, and run them through my die cutting machine, and that will put the stitching around the picnic blanket as well as the edges of the pattern paper. So next I just layered that piece onto a piece of the blueberry cardstock, which I cut out with a larger stitched rectangle die. And then I have the Let's Do Lunch from the stamp set. I stamped out in black ink, cut it out with a square die, and layered that onto another piece of the blueberry cardstock that I cut with a larger square die. I added the turtle with the picnic basket on the picnic blanket and added the sentiment off to the right, and then I'm just adding that layer to a white A2 size card base. And that card is now complete. For my next card, I die cut a piece of the sunshine cardstock with a large circle die. I also have the polka dot paper, which I cut to 5¼ by 4. And then I have a strip of that blue pattern paper, which is 5¼ inches by 5/8 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and add the blue strip towards the bottom of the long edge of the polka dot paper. And then I'm going to position that circle so that it's extending below the bottom of that polka dot paper. So it's going to be hanging off the bottom and the right edge of that polka dot pattern paper. And notice I didn't fully cut out the circle because I knew I didn't need the entire circle. So then I just trimmed off the excess, and now I can place my monkey, and I'm also going to be bringing in the buttons, and those will be positioned inside of that circle. And I'm going to be making those buttons into balloons. So I'm just going to draw with my marker some lines to look like the strings on the balloons. And I'll hold this up close so you can see that a little bit better. And then I'll go ahead and glue down this little monkey die cut, and I'm going to make sure that he's positioned over top of the ends of those strings. So this will make a really cute birthday card, I think, because that monkey is holding a piece of cake. We also have the balloons with the buttons, and then I also chose that polka dot pattern paper because it has the same circular shape as the buttons, and I always think polka dots are fun when you're creating birthday cards. So that's why I chose the polka dots, and I'm going to go ahead now and just glue those buttons onto the top of the strings. So I'm just putting glue on the back of each one of the buttons and pressing them down onto the card. For the sentiment, I'm using the word die, wishing you happiness, and I die cut the background or the shadow with the blueberry cardstock, and the words wishing you out of white cardstock and the word happiness out of red, because I wanted to bring out more of the red since I did include a red button on this card. So I'll go ahead and add that sentiment to the top left corner of my card. I finished up this card by adding this layer to a piece of blueberry cardstock that I cut with a stitched rectangle die that measures 5½ by 4¼ inches, and then I added that to a card base. For my next two cards, I'll be using the A1 Picnic Basket Folded die set. So it has these two dies that are included. I went ahead and took this die and die cut a piece of the twig cardstock and the pink pattern paper. And I'm going to start by inking up the edges just so that these die cuts don't look so flat. I'm going to take the pink pattern paper and add some Candy Shop pink ink. This is from Scrapbookcom. And I'm just adding some of the ink around the edges, and I'm also going to cut this die down. You can see I'm just going to snip off the edges there on that horizontal piece that separates the handle. So I'm going to cut the handle off and then that horizontal line piece. So now I have 3 pieces of this die cut, and I can really get into the lines that are on the die cut shape and ink up all of the edges to give this some really nice definition. I'm going to take the handle and ink up the bottoms of the handle and then the top of the basket shape as well. I'm going to do the same thing with the basket die cut that I cut out of the twig cardstock. This time I'm adding some dark chocolate ink from Scrapbookcom along the edges, and you can already see how that basket is coming to life by just adding some ink along the edges. And I'm going to do the same thing as I did with the pink basket, and I'm just going to cut this apart so it's in 3 different shapes so I can really get into all of the sides of the basket with my ink. Next, I die cut the background or shadow die of the basket with the Pacific cardstock, and I'm going to take the twig piece that is the horizontal line shape and add it to the Pacific cardstock, and then I'll add the pink basket part or the bottom part to that die cut shape, and then I'll also add the handle in the pink pattern paper, and I'll add that to that die cut shape as well. So this basket also has these little cutouts that are part of the accents to the basket, and I did save those when I die cut it out of the twig cardstock and the pink pattern paper. So I'm just going to piece in those cutouts into this basket using the twig pieces for the pink basket, and then you'll see in my next card I'll use the pink pieces for the twig basket. So you'll see that coming up here soon. But I don't need to add the ones on the right side because that's going to be covered up. So I can just leave those out. Next, I have a piece of the large polka dot pattern paper. I cut that with a stitched rectangle die. I'm adding that to a piece of the Pacific cardstock that I cut with a scalloped rectangle die, and the basket is going to go right in the center of that layer. Next, I'll add the little monkey, and I'll add him on the right side so he's covering up that space that I didn't add those die cut pieces onto. And then for my sentiment, I'm using the It's Your Special Day sentiment in the blue, and I chose that one because it matches the blue cardstock. I'm also going to add a bow. I went ahead and already tied my bow off camera, and I added some hot glue to the back, and I'm just adding it to the basket, and then I'll add that layer to an A2 size white card base, and this card is now complete. So for my next card, I'm bringing in a grass die. This is a different grass die than I used at the very beginning of this video. The one at the beginning of this video had a curved grass shape, and this one is just a straight grass die. I went ahead and added some green ink to the edges, and now I'm just going to add it to this pink piece, which is the top part of the basket. I'm just going to add it right behind that pink piece so it looks like there's some grass coming up from the top, because I want to make this look like a little Easter basket. So I'm just going to use my scissors and cut off the excess part of the grass that I don't need. And this is going to turn out super cute. So it's just another idea that you can use with this picnic basket die. Instead of making it into a picnic basket, if you wanted to make it into an Easter basket, since Easter is coming up here soon, you can do that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and add the pink with the grass to a piece of white cardstock that I cut with the large shadow die, and then I'll add the handle, and I'll also add the bottom part of the basket, and again I'm using the twig cardstock for this. I'm going to go ahead and add those pink little pieces of cardstock back into the basket, just gluing them down. And I'm going to bring in some Easter eggs using this die set from Pretty Pink Posh. It's their Easter egg border die set, and I will have it linked below in case you're interested. You can use any Easter eggs you have in your stash, but I thought these were perfect because the size was just perfect for this basket. I did die cut them out of different colors of cardstock, and I've already inked the edges, and I'm going to add 3 Easter eggs to the top of the basket right behind the grass. And I'm also going to bring in 2 eggs that I'm going to put with the little bunny on the front of the card. So I'm using the yellow bunny, and I'm going to layer up 2 little Easter eggs with that bunny. Now this little bunny has a cookie in his hand, which is super cute, but if you wanted to, you can always cover that cookie up with maybe a jelly bean or another Easter egg, but I chose just to leave it alone because I thought it was super cute. So I'm going to go ahead and add the bunny and add the little eggs. And for the sentiment, I chose Hello Friend, and I stamped it out with some pink ink, and I cut it out to a rectangle shape, and I'm just going to add it to the front of this basket. I'm making this into a shaped card, so I took a piece of the 8.5 by 11 piece of white cardstock and I folded it in half. I'm taking the large shadow basket die and I placed it so that the top edge of that die is slightly over the fold in the cardstock. I'm using some mint tape to hold this die down to the cardstock, and I'm just going to use my scissors to trim away the excess cardstock. And then I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine. And when that comes out of the die cut machine, I now have a card base for which I can glue the card layer that I just decorated right on top of this card base. So that will complete my cards for today. I would love to hear which one is your favorite. Leave me a comment down below. I will have up close pictures of all of these cards over on my blog at lisamearsdesigns.com. And if you're interested in purchasing any of these cards, you can hop over to my Etsy shop where I'll have them up for sale, and you can find my Etsy shop link in the description box of this video. I hope you enjoyed this video today. If you did like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you like videos like this and want to see more, be sure to click that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.